Hello everyone. Welcome to the third episode of The Master Show. Have you all noticed how the major apps like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, they all use blue color as their main theme? Why do you think they use blue mainly? Well, psychologically speaking, blue color is known to be resembling a more of a trustful, confident and very knowledgeable vibe, and it also kind of resembles productivity. This is the reason why major companies use blue as their main theme color. Do you want to know how to include these kind of tiny details to make a big impact on your study sessions? Stay till the end of this episode to find out. Have you noticed these restaurants, how high-end dining places care a lot about the surroundings? They make sure the colors are right, they make sure there are proper decorative items, they spend a lot on the interior decorations, and they make sure the customers who come there not only have a good dining experience but also they have a nice ambience. This word ambience is very popular in food reviews, and when you are reviewing even a restaurant or a cafe, they review about the ambience as well. So ambience is basically the surrounding, and how this affects the dining experience is no matter how good the food is, no matter how good your service is, if the customer who comes to your dining place does not have a proper ambience, a proper environment, a pleasant environment, his or her eating experience will be somewhat of a dull, somewhat of a very underwhelming aspect. The restaurants or the dining places, they care a lot about how the restaurant looks and to make the customer feel more welcome to the place. So similarly, if this is true for something you enjoy doing, now eating is something we all enjoy doing. We don't want it to be, we don't have to make it pleasant, but still, if it affects such an enjoyable activity so much, what do you think about a mundane activity like studying? That definitely is affected by our ambience. So one of the key aspects you have to learn is how to create a good ambience in your study space so that it boosts your study sessions. So the tips I'm going to talk about in this particular episode is not only going to help you study maths, but this can be incorporated into your other subjects when you're studying other subjects as well. So the main thing you have to start with is a very common mistake made by a lot of students is they do not have a dedicated space to study. Now this is something I always advise my students on. Think of your brain as the driver and you are the vehicle. You are the vehicle and the brain is your driver. And the brain kind of tries to catch your signals to find out what you are doing and try to optimize your mind and body to do the particular task. For an example, when you go to the dining table, the brain recognizes that you're about to eat and it kind of, gets ready to eat. The entire system gets ready to eat. And when you're going to the bed, again, it recognizes that you're about to take a nap or have a sleep, and it will try to adjust the body and mind to get a proper sleep. Likewise, according to the place you go for, your brain will try to catch the signal and try to adapt your body into that particular activity. Now, guess what happens when you go to the dining table? The brain is all setting up to get some food for your body, but then you open your book and start studying. Definitely it will be confused. Worst yet, you go to the bed and the body kind of adjusts to get some sleep, get some rest, and kind of shut down all the external things, and you open the book. Definitely the brain was not ready for that. So this is a very common mistake done by students. What they do is they study wherever they can find. So this, even though you can, I'm not saying it is not possible, but what happens is you will not be in your optimum concentration. So how to get rid of this is you need to have a dedicated place which you use only to study, not for anything else. Like it doesn't have to be a fancy setup, it doesn't have to be a separate room, nothing like that. A very simple, a small table which you keep only for your study purposes would be ideal. So then a repeated days of studying at this dedicated place would kind of give your brain, it will program your brain actually to think, okay, whenever this person is going to come here, he or she is about to study and we have to get into that particular mood. After repeated sessions of studying at this dedicated place, your brain will understand, okay, whenever he or she comes to this particular place, that means they are about to study now. So that will definitely help you out to concentrate more on the lessons. Okay, now you have set up a proper place for your studies, a small desk by your room or a small desk by any space you can find. And the other important factor you have to make sure your study space has is proper lighting. Ideally, it should be natural lighting because as humans, we love natural lighting a lot. So if you can keep your desk or the study space just close to an open window, that's going to do wonders to your study sessions. Natural light will always help you elevate your mood. But in case you can't find such a place, don't worry, still artificial lighting even will work. But make sure the place is well lit. Dim lit spaces will make you sleepy and also will strain your eyes out a lot. But if you keep your space well lit, that will definitely elevate the experience of you studying. So that is the second point I want to highlight. Make sure your study space has enough natural, or if not possible, at least artificial light to light up the space properly. As I explained in the beginning of the video about how blue color oozes out trust and confidence, likewise there is a separate branch in psychology called the color psychology, where they have researched about how different colors try to trigger different emotions and behaviors in human. They use this a lot in marketing. If you pay attention around a supermarket, you will see this a lot. Different colors embodies different feelings. For an example, red embodies the feeling of excitement, danger, power, and while white color embodies the feelings of pure peace. Likewise, different colors have their own flavors. So incorporating the right colors into your study space is also going to help you have a more boosted up productive study sessions. Now, what colors are the best? Well, the answer is a little bit subjective. Sometimes this may have an effect from how your cultural preferences, how you are brought up, and your personal preferences about color. But in general, it is found that blue, green, and orange are ideal to boost your productivity. All of them have different aspects which will definitely help you increase your study sessions effectiveness. And now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to paint your whole house in orange, green, and blue just for the sake of productivity. What you have to do is you have to try to incorporate not even all the three colors. It doesn't have to be a mashup of all the three colors. Whatever the color you like out of them, you can just use. Try to include at least a part of blue or maybe a part of orange, maybe some accessories in these colors to make it feel like there is a bit of these colors included in your study space. Even though it's a tiny matter, can actually make a big difference in your study sessions. So once you have got your visionary senses on track, the next detail you have to get into is, now this is something which is kind of overlooked by many people. They forget that we have this sense of smelling. This is a very important sense which we have to take care of, because it can help you memorize a lot of things. If you don't trust me, imagine, can you still remember that fancy eraser you smelled when you were like in grade 1 or 2? You sometimes even still will remember that smell, and even you will remember the place you smelled it at, the color of the eraser, such long years back. So that is how effective your sense of smell is. It is very much connected to your memory as well, but this is often ignored. People do not think about this much. So how I would like to incorporate this into your study space is, choose a smell which you like, which you prefer. Maybe personally I like lavender, but it can be your personal preference. You can find whatever the smell you prefer, and whenever you study, make sure that your study space is kind of filled with that particular aroma or the smell. So that will kind of infuse that memory with your smelling sense as well, and might make you remember the things for a longer time. So how do you make the study space smell of your favorite fragrance? Is you can go for, if you are if you can afford it, you can go for a humidifier. It might cost a few bucks, but you can definitely go for it. But even if you do not have money to spend on that, you don't have to worry. There are a lot of budget alternatives. There are ones where you have burners available, where you just put the essential oils and you can kind of make the place smell nice. And even if that is not available, still you can go for the last option in your budget as incense sticks. You can buy them, and you can kind of make sure that you always, whenever you are studying, you give your body that feeling, okay, whenever this smell comes, that you're about to study. So this will elevate your memory, and also this will kind of give you an overall good feeling about your study sessions. So remember that your study space is not your storage unit. Don't pile up all the books there. Don't keep all your everything in that. Keep that space very minimalistic. Only the things which you really need should be there. Don't get it cluttered. Keep it very clean and neat and tidy. This will give you a very pleasant feeling when you are studying. And the other thing is also, you have to avoid any distractions you will have like when you're studying. So when you're coming to your study space, treat it kind of like a temple or a mosque where you leave your slippers behind, you switch off your mobile phones. So create that feeling naturally in your study space as well. So make it like a no phone zone, and you are not allowed to bring the phone over there, because even though we can't live without mobile phones in these days, of course when you are studying, keeping them away will do wonders for you. So definitely you have to make up a rule saying that, okay, when I am in my study space, I do not keep my mobile phone with me. So keep it as far as away as possible. Don't keep it in your pocket. Don't keep it on the side of the table. Just keep it across the room, or if possible, just hand it over to your parents. For the number of hours you're going to study, tell them like, not to give the phone back. And I know like how most of you will make up an excuse to keep the phone with you is that, okay, I need to study, my notes are there, I need a stopwatch, the clock is there in my mobile. So these are reasons you come up with to keep the mobile phone with you. At the beginning, it might seem legit reasons that you are trying to use your mobile phones to study, but at the end of the day, they are just going to distract you with the infinite amount of notifications you're going to get from all your social media apps. So that is why a very simple gadget can solve a lot of problems. First of all, your notes, don't keep them in your phone and study. Get them printed out or get them handwritten. Keep a physical copy with you. The PDFs, the screenshots are not going to do you any good. And secondly, you have to buy a very small clock which has the timer, stopwatch and the alarm features. It doesn't cost much. You can buy one for $200-300 and keep a very small clock with you all the time, or maybe even a wristwatch. It doesn't matter, but keep it always on your study space table. So whenever you want to study, whenever you want to time manage your exam, say you're doing a sum which you want to finish in 10 minutes, you use your stopwatch or the timer which you have in your hand, not your phone. And whenever you want to keep an alarm that you have to study for 1 hour, you want the alarm to ring in an hour, you keep the alarm in the timepiece you have, not your phone. So buying that particular timepiece or the clock or the wristwatch which you keep in your study space always will definitely give you less reasons to keep your phone with you. So these things will definitely, even if not fully, partially will avoid the distractions you will have. And speaking about the things you can add to your study space, one more good item you can add to your study space will be at least one or two motivational posters. Now it can be your favorite quotes about studies or something motivating, something about hard work, or else it can be even a picture of your parents to remind yourself why you're doing this, or maybe it's a picture of like your dream, maybe your dream car, maybe your dream job, maybe your dream house. You can hang a picture of that to constantly try to remind yourself why you're doing all these in the first place. So that will also be another factor which can actually motivate you to study more effectively. So these are things which you can incorporate into your study space. As I said, to list down, you need to have a dedicated space. That is the very important thing. Let me tell you this. I used to have this habit where I do all my work I have this pretty long table where I work, I do my classes, and because of my busy schedule, I eat and I do almost everything on that table. So, and then I wanted to get rid of this few months back. What I did is I actually have another table in my study room. So I have two tables. So one table where I work and one table I keep it like, just for other works like studying, all the other things I want to do. But I want a table, I do it there, because if I keep a table, particularly for one job, that actually boosts up my work very much. And so have a dedicated table, that's a must. A corner of your room, a corner of the hall, it doesn't matter. Tell your parents, tell your family members, this is my study space. Put a fancy name for it, like, like I call my place as Master Cave. You can come up with something fancy. call it fortress of solitude or something you like, and tell them, okay, this is the space, this is my space, and you can't do anything like this. You set up some rules which actually applies to you as well as the family members. And second of all, of course, as I said, make sure you have something visually pleasing around. So it should be less distracting. Incorporate colors like blue, green, orange, and also keep some motivational posters and plenty of natural or at least artificial lighting to keep the space well lit. And the next thing I talked about is about the odors, the smells, how effectively they can actually improve your experience. So therefore, find something which will give a very nice smell when you're studying. It can be like a humidifier, oil burner, or even some incense sticks or scented candles. Whatever you can afford, whatever you can find, make do with it, and you can fill the space with some nice smell. And the last thing I told you about is how you have to keep the desk clutter free as well as distraction free. Avoid too much of books and stuff around the table, and also try to keep it as a no mobile zone where you don't bring your mobile phone when you're studying. And keep some accessories like a stopwatch or a timer which actually helps you not to use a mobile phone. So when you get all these things done, and one more final tip I would like to add is, when you get into the zone, like when you're studying, after a few minutes, you will kind of feel like you are in the zone where you feel like doing more and more work. One very important thing is, you should not give yourself any reason to get out of this zone. There will be some reasons, like you have to fetch your highlighter, or you want to go and get some A4 sheets, or you have to go and find some file clips. So you have to make sure that you will not find any such reasons or excuses to go out of your zone. So keep everything what you need like at arm's length, and everything what you don't need like at a room's length. And this overall tiny things, like all I said, are very small, tiny matters you might not even have thought of as significant things. But trust me, just like I said, like if Facebook, Twitter, and all the big restaurant chains trust these things to be very impactful in the overall experience, definitely they will be impactful in your study sessions as well. Do all these things. And one more reminder is, you don't have to spend a lot of money on these things. Don't be extravagant. You don't try to go and buy. That happens, like you feel like you have to buy a separate table, you have to buy the motivational posters, you have to buy the expensive gadgets. You don't have to. All these things can be done with whatever you have at your home. Get a plastic table which you do not use. Or make use of find some incense sticks, or get some all table lamps. Make use of what you have already. You don't have to purchase anything new here. At the same time, try to be creative. You don't have to buy motivational posters. You can make them yourself, or you don't have to have a very fancy setup to do this. Even though if you can, would be nice, but even if you don't, as long as you use what you have, that will definitely help you out. So with more tips and tricks about how you can continue this journey in improving maths, I'll meet you in the next episode. Till then, signing off with love, Rizlan Hassan.